Hello viewers, Gran Turismo baby. Oh, I love Gran Turismo. And as you can see, well, you can probably tell because you clicked on it, because the title said Gran Turismo Sport in it, that we're playing Gran Turismo Sport. So here's some Gran Turismo Sport gameplay. Let's do it around Bathurst. Now I realise that I've been saying that word wrong for my entire life. I've been saying it like some really posh Englishman. It's like I've been turning to my butler and I've been saying, should we go to Bathurst? Shall we go to Bathurst? Which sounds really stupid and posh. So yeah, Bathurst, I think it's a better, or should I just say Mount Panorama, just to avoid the embarrassment completely. But anyway, a Group 3 race, so no, I got that completely wrong, a Group 4 race around Bathurst in the Mazda Atenza. I do Group 3 a lot more often than I do 4, so I often lose track of which cars are the best in each division. And from what I can recall, the Atenza is fairly good in terms of cornering and traction, but it might lose out in the straights. But we will find out through the course of this race around Bathurst. Let's see how it goes. A couple of Aston Martins in here. That does seem to be a popular choice. We'll see if that one is a rapid rocket down the straights. So it's an unusual circuit, this one. There's not really any circuits quite like it in the world. You do have this very twisty section at the top of the mountain, which is very famous for. And then you have the two very long straights, the one which we're about to go on to now. These guys are all over the place. And so let's see if that Aston Martin can do a job on me down this back straight. So I got the run initially, but then he is slowly but surely going to find a way past, back into, or up into third place. I'm back into fourth. Quite a big gap developing already to the top two. And into the chase at the end of the lap. I think I've just nudged him wide. Now, something we do have to mention here is that the penalties have been altered. So you may well have seen my previous video where the penalties after patch 1.13 were incredibly annoying. So you just lunge, or you get lunged, and then you'd get a penalty for getting lunged. So they've changed it, but it is still, well, it's not bad, but you do get fairly stringent penalties for contact, so 5 seconds quite often, rather than, let's say, just normally 2 seconds, which it often was. So it is fairly strict in that sense, or the penalties are quite high, but that's a good thing. You get a penalty, you get a high penalty, and you think, well, okay, I won't do that again. So it is a deterrent in that sense. And looking up the inside of the Aston, he goes in very narrow, and I go for a lunge, and oh, it's just not a pretty move. It's not a pretty move. We resume our positions. I get a nice little speed boost from the Megane behind. The guy behind is called Don't Do Vodka. So let's say that Gran Turismo can be educational too. As he gives us a good life lesson. Over the crest, into the left-hander, turn number I don't even know, as we then come down towards the descent. This is the really difficult part. This section right here is the very, very hard bit to get right, or to get fast. Many people making mistakes. So this circuit will claim many egos who think they can really tame the circuit, but it really isn't an easy one to get right. So we're going to see here how big the effect of slipstream is. I'm going to tuck right into it here, behind the Aston Martin. We can see the Aston Martin was definitely quicker in a straight line on the previous lap. But if I can just tuck into that slipstream, I might be able to keep with him. In fact, I am. And I'm very slightly gaining. So that is very good, actually. So I'm getting all the benefits of the car through the twisty section with the traction and the handling, but then I'm losing nothing because I'm just behind this guy. So essentially this guy can kind of tow me away from the rest of the pack. I mean, that is a very very positive and very what's the right word, optimistic way of looking at it. But now I'm actually going to go past him onto the first long straight on the circuit. So he's presumably going to get me back. Let's see how much of a gap I can just pull out on the initial acceleration phase. It looks like about 3/10, but that gap is now coming down. He's got the benefit of the slipstream now. He's going to pull out to the inside, yes he is. Braking about the 100-metre boards. I go a little bit wide, but mainly just to go late on the brakes to keep him behind. Slower line, but I do keep the position. And he's going to look up the inside, is he? Not quite. Just dip 2 wheels the wrong side of that line. The camber kind of offsets you there, and it doesn't really help you if you do that. But I do maintain the 3rd position. So this kind of section here is a nice flowing section, kind of the top of the mountain, if you like. And then we're peaking about here as we go then back downhill again into the difficult descent. Aston Martin keeping fairly close, although I'll be expecting to pull away during this area because I should have the superior handling and he should have the superior straight line speed. So this is something you do have to understand in motorsport. Who's got the better car, or more specifically, who's got the better car for which kind of section of the circuit. So that is very important. So this time around, roughly 0.9 seconds ahead, and it's that kind of range where they're just about going to be in the slipstream. Obviously it does depend on the speed of the cars, but around about that kind of distance he might just be picking it up, the lower end of the slipstream. But he is gaining. He's gained about 3/10 on that straight. So let's say over the course of the 2 straights he should gain over half a second, which is very big. It's a big differential, but I should hopefully make that back on the twisty section at the top of the hill. Into the final corner for the 3rd time. Not quite striking the apex, but on the throttle nice and early. And we have the message of doom blocking our screen. Polyphony, please change it. It's so frustrating to have to kind of look past that text whilst driving. But lap 4 kind of went without incident. In fact, if anything, I lost out a tiny bit to the guy behind. He was actually, I think the gap's about the same here, 0.6 as we go into the pit lane. So diving in here, it's a very difficult, and it's very easy to get that one wrong, that entry. There's a big tyre wall there. So obviously opting for the hard tyres once again. There's actually no choice on that, you kind of have to. And it took an absolute eternity for the car to pull in. I think he got lost or stopped off at McDonald's drive-through for a quick cup of coffee. He's still not there. Oh, there he is. Okay, he's arrived now. That coffee obviously taking a while to get ordered, but then the tyres are done very quickly. We're just waiting for the fuel to get done. Now that seemed to take an absolute eternity. I just hope I haven't done anything wrong there. I was just wondering, am I meant to press a button to initiate the pit stop or something? I guess it's just a very long pit lane. So as a result of all of that anarchy in the pit lane, I've actually lost a couple of positions. So a couple of people didn't pit, so I would have lost positions naturally anyway because of that. But then the Aston Martin, who was behind, is now directly ahead, and then there's the orange Megane ahead of him, who was also behind me by a couple of seconds. So clearly the Mazda boys in the pits doing a crap job. This German is going to be the most sensible person of the day just by backing out. I don't think he's really part of this race. He's still got a pit, and credit where it's due, just backing right out of this battle and just thinking, okay, you guys, I'm not fighting you really, so just go. Sometimes you know, I do criticise crap driving. Well, I mean, if it's crap driving, it deserves to be criticised, but let's just laud and, you know, let's be positive about that guy's driving there just by backing right out. Very sensible thing to do. So we're going to resume our battle here. 3-way battle, very close indeed, through the twisty section of the circuit. The Megane, though, just holding his line. Not much the Aston can do really unless he makes a mistake. He's got a big slide on there through the final corner onto the back straight. Let's see how this goes. So the Megane I mean, it used to be OP. It used to be an absolute missile on the straights, and you just simply could not beat it. Of course, it's been patched since then. Polyphony constantly updating the balance of performance to try to make the cars as balanced as possible. Into this corner, just go into the back of the Aston. He's going to go into the back of the Megane as a result. I'll get a 5-second penalty. Yeah, fair enough. It was my fault. But then the Megane is just going to come over and ram the Aston. He thinks it was him that did it. He thinks it was him. Really, it was me. Yeah, sorry about that. And I'm going to try to go past the Aston. He's clearly not happy about that. He's going to come across. Okay. Don't worry. I won't go past it. Yes, it was completely my fault. But, you know, my sentence has been done. I've got the penalty. We've got to just continue the race now. So he makes a big mistake, presumably out of rage. And we just saw the pink Aston Martin come out of the pits. So he's obviously done a good in-lap and had a good pit stop. The Aston boy is doing a good job and resuming in third place. So the top two are long gone. There's little chance of those two being caught. It's going to be a battle for third now. I find myself in this position quite a lot, with a big battle on my hands, with a penalty to kind of wind down as well. So it's a really difficult kind of situation to be in, especially with the penalty, because the penalties are very different now. And if that goes over 5 seconds, then I'm absolutely screwed, because you kind of have to stop instantly. So that was something that was introduced in 1.13. If it goes over 5 seconds, it will increase by a second every couple of seconds. So you are inclined to serve it straight away. Of course, you can just let it go up if you want, but you're kind of stupid to do that, and you will just pay the price ultimately at the end. So I'm walking a tightrope at this current moment as we head down the hill into the hairpin. On the brakes late, he would have seen that coming. Almost make a collision with him, just about backing out in time. So don't do vodka, clearly very sober at this moment as he comes to the realisation that Super GT is running his tail. The Aston Martin though is going to start making strides to get past on this long back straight. Is he quite going to have enough? I'm kind of taking a very middle defensive line there. So into the chase. No ramming on my part this time around. So top marks for not being a rammer this time. Good stuff indeed. Is he going to go defensive? Not quite. I'm not going to go for a lunge though. Very close. And luckily we both judge our braking points to perfection. He does dip 2 wheels onto the grass though. So we're going to look for that move up the inside into turn 1. And is it going to come off? Yes it is. He leaves him with the space. Nice driving. A little bit wide there. You can take that bit of AstroTurf from the exit of turn 1 though. Let's just test how good that Megane is in a straight line. He was about half a second behind at the beginning of that straight, and you can see him ominously catching up, but I don't think it's going to be enough. He's just under 2 attempts behind, and he's just poking his nose up the inside, but it wasn't quite enough. Ideally in that kind of corner you want to be alongside already. You can't really lunge for it. It's quite a fast entry, that one, so he didn't quite think about going for it. Which was a good decision. So we are now in 4th place, trying to reel in the Aston Martin. The situation is very difficult still. I still have that that 4.8 second penalty, and it seems as though with these recent updates, as I grind the wall, that they won't just go down on their own anymore. You really do have to slow down. You do have to serve them. You can't just wait and serve them, which is fair enough. That's how, I mean, if you get a penalty, you should have to serve it. And I'm just pushing way too hard. And to be honest, for the first 6 laps, I was kind of okay for that section. But I'm going to pay the price. You see the penalty goes up. So that wall collision, despite the fact that I actually lost time because of it, I'm actually going to get slapped with a penalty. And I make a really stupid decision here because I serve it straight away, which I kind of have to, but I don't serve enough of it. I should have served all of it, and it's still 5.3, so it's going to go up again. And now I have to stop in the middle of the straight, which is the worst place you could do it, but I kind of had to because of my own stupid decision. So yeah, this race kind of went down the toilet very quickly. It could have been a 3rd, but now at best it will be a 6th. although that is my standard position. So at the end of the race, I still have 3.4 to serve. And as we go across the line, I try to serve it by slowing right down, and it does nothing. And then as a result, actually, I lose a position, so I get down to 7th. So just to rub it in at the end, I lose another position. I should have just carried on at full speed, and then I probably would have kept 6th. But oh well, that race will basically forget that it ever existed. But it is always a good learning curve, and he's shaking my hand there, but I don't think it deserves a handshake. I think he should be slapping me around the head with that hand as a punishment for that display. Well, let's look at this race then. I decided to go into Group 3. It's where I feel more at home. 10th place on the grid. Gone for the Aston Martin. A couple of Mustangs in there, which seems to be a popular choice around this circuit. The Autodrome and Maggiore, one of the newer layouts, a very short circuit, around about 44 seconds per lap. And we're going for a 10-lap race here. So this should be a bit shorter than the previous one. So a quick, quick-fire race. Shorter quick-fire race. Into the first corner. See there, no collisions at all. Really good to see. That's the main benefit, I think, of having the rolling starts plus single file plus spacing up and out, and it results in a lot less collisions. Although you could argue it's a lot less interesting. I wouldn't mind having something really to commentate on, aka 50,000 people going into the first corner and crashing and dying. Always quite interesting to see that Mustang comes out of nowhere, just annihilates, just brutally kills that guy. And I'm really not sure what he must have done to him in a previous life, but he's come back with a vengeance there, and he's just brutally murdered him. And I'm sure he's going to go to jail for that, but we're not really going to worry about that. There's a big group up ahead. This BMW is going to lose out overall. Subaru, the Italian there, just having to back right out, presumably with a 5-second penalty, or just giving up entirely. One of the two, I don't know. But we're going to continue in 8th place, winding out through the chicane onto the back straight, just going slightly defensive against the Viper behind before resuming the normal racing line. Quite a late apex. The Aston Martin fairly frivolous on the accelerator pedal. Once you get that throttle pedal down, does like to slide the rear end, so you do have to be careful, especially coming out of these slow corners, of which there are 2 main ones on this circuit. And I give this BMW a bit of a nudge, and the other guy just goes spinning off for a nice trip into the barriers. So through past those guys, or just past that one guy who decided to have a good look at that barrier. I'm not sure why it's quite a beautiful one to look at, but he obviously shares a different opinion than I do. Onto the back straight, tucking into that slipstream. The BMW not too bad in the line, but the Aston clearly very good. No contact at all through that corner. That is respect at its utmost highest. Good driving for the pair of us. The German there called Be Real, and he's being real right now. Into turn 1. I'm in 7th on the outside. Can I hold it here? Let's see if I can. Very close indeed. A little bit of contact, but I think we can handle that. In fact, I gave him a bit of contact back. I think it was fairly just close. Good driving, I think. Yes, a bit of contact involved, but sometimes that is to be expected, especially in very close GT racing. You do get that. So then up into 6th place. Not a bad return so far. The BMW is coming back at me though. He's going to poke his nose up the inside. It just kind of opens up for him. And again, we've gone through that corner with minimal contact. I think there's a bit of contact on the exit, although I'm not sure how deliberate it was. I don't think it was. So we're just going to kind of go along with that one. The Italian now getting on the act on the Viper, and not quite opting to go up the inside. That was a good decision, I think. I'm going to go around his outside. So he kind of backed out, and it left him exposed around the outside. So I went around that way instead. So back into 7th. So plenty of overtaking here, with loss of respect and measure in abundance. So then a bit of an overspeed, but I couldn't quite pull over to the right hand side in time before making the most of it. I am going to look up the inside, just back out though. He kind of went half defensive and just put me off. So we're going to maintain 7th for now, and that is going to round out the halfway mark of the race. This guy dipping 2 wheels onto the gravel, not sure why, but Quite an unusual tactic, perhaps to make me think he's, not quite as intelligent as you'd like. Just to lull me into a full sense of security. He's struggling though for traction on the exit of the second corner. So one of the two main traction zones on the circuit. You do have to be very, very intimate with the right hand index finger on that R2 button, or trigger if you like. Up the inside, bits of contact. It's a strong move. It's a very strong move, and I think the Aston is actually going to come back past. So he's going to slide up the inside and presumably take back 6th place. Is he going to do it? I can hold around the outside. Not quite. He runs me a bit wide. That was a bit of a more clever tactic from him. Brake a bit later. Don't really give me that opportunity to run wide or run around his outside. So he's obviously learnt from the overtake I did a couple of laps ago not to let me do that. I can do it, but he denied the space. But now I'm going to come back with the slipstream onto the back straight, so plenty of overtakes here. And up the inside, we are going to look for that move. So the amount of position changing here is very high, and I just about slot in ahead. So it's a perfectly just overtake, although I'm going to be right on the back foot now, and I probably should have gone defensive. But I do like to hold this outside line in the attempt to hold the right hand side for this corner, which is arguably more important, as you can see. So I just about maintained my position, so I could have gone defensive into turn 1. He's just going to go through there, and any respect we might have had, he's just been completely shattered by that awful move. So there was really no space to go for a move there, and it's not really an overtaken corner, and it's not really, there's no real braking zone. So I'm going to look up the inside, go for a punt. I didn't actually really mean that, to be honest. And he's going to run me narrow on the exit and go very defensive. So, he's actually got a penalty, I think. So this race has turned very dirty all of a sudden. But I call that 1-1. Let's put it that way. And in 6th place, we now have less than 2 laps to try to maintain our position. We have the advantage of track position, but we have the disadvantage of everyone behind being able to slipstream me from the size of that massive wing, which is just quite frankly the size of a continent, and must provide about 2 billion pounds, kilograms, tons of downforce. I don't even know what I'm talking about here. But anyway, we're going to round out one more lap. We've got a Mustang in our tail now. The Mustang seems to be a popular choice. I believe the top 2 guys are in the Mustang. And representing Britain, we have a yellow flag. What's happening? I couldn't quite see anyone. So no positions for free here, unfortunately. So coming down the hill. And yes, there's another yellow flag. We're going to gain a position. The green green Lamborghini kind of camouflaged on the grass there. So up into 5th. So it's always good to have a position for free. Unfortunate, obviously, for the guy who spun out or got pushed out, I don't know. But we're going to gain a position. So thank you for that one, mate. So this race was a little bit more successful. 5th place in the end, from 10th on the grid. So always good to gain and go up rather than backwards. So 2 Brits at the top, 2 Mustangs. Clearly, I think that's a good car for this. But it's good to see a fair range of cars being deployed for this one. But there we go, guys. I do hope you enjoyed as always. I shall see you next time. Many thanks for watching. Do smash the like button if you enjoyed. And I'll hope to see you in the next one. Thanks for watching. Goodbye.